Hi guys, this is Mada. I'm one of the founders of Branch and I run our marketing team. I've been here for the very beginning and before Branch I was actually building an app and trying to make it viral. So as we grew Branch, virality came a little bit of an obsession. So I'm going to do a little bit of a workshop on how you can make your app go viral and the 3 levers you can pull to give yourself the best chance of success. So basically we're taking an app and we're trying to make it viral. Cool. So there are 3 things that you can leverage to really incentivize your users to do sharing and clicking on your links. So those are referrals and incentive. Then we have ego, this is my favorite one, and emotion. Okay, so first let's go through referrals and incentives. So we've worked with thousands of apps that come to us and say, hey, we want to build a referral program. And we help them do it. And we make the most seamless referral program out there. You have a link, you share it with a friend, your friend comes from the link, they go into the app, they see a personalized message from the friend, and they get something, their friend gets something. The problem that we see is sometimes it doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Well, the way I like to think about referrals, and after working with these apps and really studying this, I think about it as a mountain. So you have, this is a mountain, and to get someone to install and use your app is basically getting them to be from the top of the mountain and they jump off. However, the problem is most users have never heard of your app and they are actually right here at the bottom of the mountain. And if you try to get them to jump when they're at the bottom of the mountain, it's going to be very, very hard. So you have to get them all the way up. So the way I like to think about it is actually everything else that you do all along the way gets people from the bottom to the top. So if you think about Uber, they did ads and content and brand building. And all of those created awareness. So a user already knew what Uber is doing. So when they got the referral message from a friend saying, here's $20 to try Uber, they were already at the top of the mountain. So the referral pushes them over the edge. So while referrals are important and doing them seamlessly is important, and Branch will help you with that, you have to remember that referral can never be the one solve all solutions. And referral needs to be in line with your other marketing strategies. If you are doing referrals, some things to keep in mind. 2-sided are better. So if both the person who's sending something, who's sending the referral, and the person receiving it gets something, then you're much more likely to succeed. And if you are to give something only to one of those 2 people, give it to the person that's receiving the referral link. There's 2 reasons for that. One, they're the ones who don't know about your app. You try to get them higher up the mountain. And the second is actually people like to share because they want to help others. So while you might think that your users think about themselves, and if you give them $5 for every person they invite, it's actually not true. They would much rather give those $5 to their friend than do it themselves, because then they feel they're doing it as for the goodness of their heart, and they get a different kind of joy out of it. So that's kind of my 2 things on referrals. And if you are building it, use Branch because we make it seamless and awesome. 2 is ego. So there's a book by Jonah Berger called Contagion, and that I read and I really love. And he talks about ego and emotion as 2 of the main things that actually drive virality. We all like to create an awesome image of ourselves. And we're more likely to share things when it kind of fills in with that image. So I'll give you an example. My co-founder, Mike, he never shares anything. But he shares sometimes things that like really fit with the image of himself. So he likes to do woodworking and he likes to work. And that's really his like personality. So when there's things that are related to work or the things that are related to woodworking, he's more likely to share than anything else. And tools that enable him, like Instagram, where he takes an awesome picture that makes it look really good, he's a lot more likely to share content that fits with the image of himself. I did something really funny the other day. One of my friends, one of my old boss, had something on his wall and says, and I know he's from South Africa, and he says, my vocabulary is better than this percentage of the population. And I was like, man, I think I can beat him. So I went and took the test just to prove to myself that I had a higher vocabulary than him. And I did, and I was so excited because it appealed to my ego that I shared it on Facebook. And then some friend of mine from Romania saw it, and he took the test, and he did even better than me, although he doesn't even live in US. But he went and shared it on my wall and shared it on his wall because he felt it appealed to his ego. So if you have an app that gives people some sort of, like, if appeals to their egos, especially if you're going after a small percentage of the market, if you're going after, let's say, moms, and they can show that they are good moms, or that their kids are better than other kids, those are things that they will share. And lastly, my favorite one after ego is emotion. And there's two types of emotion. There are arousing emotions and passive emotions. So what's really interesting is arousing emotions are much, much more likely to drive clicks. So if someone sees content online that makes them feel one of those arousing emotions, they're more likely to click on it, and they're more likely to share with other people. So one thing I saw the other day was something about genetic sequencing and a technology called CRISPR that basically allows you to change the DNA sequencing and create designer babies or designer humans. For me, it was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I started looking more into the company that created that video. What I found is what they do is kind of brilliant. They find a really interesting topic, and then they research it and create a video on it. And those videos almost always become viral, and then they sell ads on it. And that's their model. So obviously, that's probably not going to be the model for your app. But think about if there is content in your app, or there is something about your app that you think would create awe. Maybe you have like some really high conversion, or maybe there's content that your users are creating that no one else has seen before, then that you think would be interesting to a specific target of your customers. Make sure that that's the content that you use when you promote your app in both ads, social media, etc., because that's going to drive clicks and shares. The other one, which obviously you probably also already know, is anger. So anger is a really interesting one. I actually ran a test. I ran a bunch of different Facebook ads for cat lovers, and I think I was using different texts, and 3 of them were all about how great cats are, and the other one was dogs, 97 reasons why dogs are so much better than cats. And guess what? They got the highest click-through rate because it got the cat owners to be angry, and they were curious, and they were like, no, this is not possible. It works. It doesn't lead to shares, but it does lead to clicks. So be careful how you use anger. It can get a lot of awareness, but it's not necessarily an awareness that would turn into virality. The other one is anxiety. So basically the anxiety and actually fear, I'm going to put both of them in one. So making your users feel anxious and fearful that they're missing something out. So obviously this is a very well-known marketing technique that marketers use, saying, 20% off, sales end tomorrow. You're scared that you're going to miss out. Or did you know that the 5 mistakes you could be making in relationships it kind of people click on that things, and if the content is useful, they're very likely to share because they don't want their friends and coworkers to also, or their family to also miss out. So think about it when like this when you promote your app. If you do limited things, limiting sales, limiting the way people get into your app, you can kind of use that fear of missing out, try to drive some virality. Then we have joy. This is obviously an awesome one, and this is one I would like to use the most. And just like, if there are things in your app that make people happy, if there's things that they share, Facebook does such a great job. By the way, if you share something on Facebook, the one comment that someone can make on your post that's guaranteed to make your post show to more of your friends is congratulations. Because then Facebook thinks, oh, if someone's congratulating you, there's some joy associated with the event in your life, and more people would see it because joy drives people to like and share and be happy for each other. So if you're building a social app, make sure that you find ways to tag those joyful moments and make it easy for people to share them with their friends. The other really interesting emotion that gets me every single time is lust. We all lust over different things, and trying to understand what is that one thing in your app that your user might want. And this works really great with e-commerce apps. For me, there was this dress that I found on a site sometimes a few weeks ago, and I clicked on that dress, but it was too expensive for me. So then what did that site did? It retargeted me, and I started seeing that dress everywhere. I saw it when I was browsing the web, I saw it in Facebook. I ended up buying the dress because they used that initial, they saw that I spent a bunch of time on that dress, they understood that there was lust associated, and then they actually used some of the things I talked about before. They gave me a 20% discount, and they said 3 dresses left. So I felt that I was getting a special deal that appealed to my ego, and I also felt that there was only 3 of them left, so I had this fear of missing out, so I bought the dress. What that means for you is if you see that someone spends a bunch of time in your app, and you should be tracking that with a specific product, remember what the product is, send them an email promoting that product, show that product in ads to kind of get your user to eventually buy it. And once they buy it, if they've really wanted it, they're also more likely to share it with their friends. So make sure that after that, you have a share screen that allows them to share the purchase they just made. They're probably really proud of it. And last one is surprise. And this is interesting. You obviously don't know what surprises people, but content usually surprises people. For example, I'm not a runner, and I recently started running, and I ended up posting on social media that I ran a mile, which to most people is nothing. But to all my friends who know that I'm usually a couch potato, they liked that, and it became almost like a viral post. And that came from an app that was Strava. And one of my friends actually got really excited about it, and she wanted to join me, so she downloaded Strava, and now she's using Strava. She was deep linked immediately to my run. She could check it out. She joined the group with me, so and now she's a user, and it came because she was surprised that I was now running and wanted to join and support me. So these are the 3 things that you can leverage to drive more virality in your app. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I wrote a larger post that goes through the entire value process and how you can measure virality that you should check out. But in the meantime, hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you next time. Can't wait to see how you get your apps to go viral.